3FM, VPRO.
Podcast.
Dit is De Machine, een tweewekelijkse podcast van VPRO 3 voor 12 over de muziekindustrie. Niels Albert, Atze de Vriese en Malou Miedema praten hierbij over het belangrijkste nieuws achter de schermen.
We zetten de tune er gewoon na afloop in, jongens. Welkom allemaal. Dat zul je altijd zien. Je hebt een podcast die over de machine en over de muziekindustrie gaat. En het laatste dat we aan de praat krijgen is muziek. Welkom allemaal, tof dat jullie er zijn. Mijn naam is Niels, dat is Malou. We hebben vandaag twee gasten. Yuki zei het al eventjes. Van Goa. Taras Sedevchenko.
Yep.
En Ior Didenchuk. Ja. Welkom. We zijn iets later begonnen dan oorspronkelijk het plan was, maar we hebben ongeveer een uur. We willen het een kwartiertje, tenminste over een paar dingen hebben. Natuurlijk over de band en de situatie in Oekraïne. De manier waarop zij daarmee omgaan in de muziek. En we zullen de afloop ook afsluiten met een vragenuurtje. Voor de winnaar, jongens, ik laat hem vast zien. Met de beste vraag. Het felbegeerde. Ja, jongens, dat willen we allemaal. Het is natuurlijk een beetje een rare vraag, maar zijn er ook mensen die niet weten wat de machine is en nooit naar de machine luisteren? Mag je gewoon zeggen, vinden wij niet erg. Heel goed. Dan hebben we nog een heel wat te winnen om hier iets moois van te maken en jullie wel luisteraars te maken. Ik zou zeggen, laten we gauw van start gaan. Malou.
Yeah, well, let's kind of get the elephant out of the room. What is the situation right now in Ukraine? And we want to talk, not to you as political commentators, of course, but just from your personal perspective.
Well, from our personal perspective, like situation is like this. No one is safe right now in Ukraine. Situation is like it's war. So and almost in every major city, it's like air alarms 3-4 times a day approximately, and no one knows where missiles will strike next. Mm-hmm. So nobody's safe, but for now it's a new reality for us right now. It's not easy, of course, but we try to do something with it, and we try to, every Ukrainian citizen right now tries to support Ukrainian army or like to help refugees who lost their homes, because we've got several cities such as Mariupol, the city on the south of Ukraine that's completely bombed. And so, for example, my mother-in-law is from Mariupol, and she has no apartment left there because it's totally bombed. So, and we need to help like people like this. And right now, every Ukrainian tries to do something with it.
How did you do that in the situation of your mother-in-law?
Fortunately, right now my wife has a job in Belgium. Mm-hmm. She's a biochemist and she works in the lab. So, and for now my family is in Belgium, and thanks Lord, they're safe for now. But it's only like it's my family alone, but we have lots of people who are still in Ukraine in like cities that are like without any conveniences, without any like water or food or proper medicine, and it's really horrible, because sometimes you look at it and it feels like a scenario for a bad horror movie, but it's for real. It's our life now. Because
you're on the road a lot, so I can imagine that you get a lot of these images kind of through social media and stuff. Like, how does that affect you when you're on tour?
Well, looking through all these images on social media and TV or everything, it looks like just a screen from a picture from a TV. But for us, it's totally different, because almost every day we message and call our friends and our relatives just to know if they're alive. Because so we wake up in the morning and we see like there were 10 missile strikes all over our country, and we just want to know if our friends and relatives are alive, are they well, are they safe. But like I said, it's impossible to be safe right now in Ukraine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Can you give a little bit of historic background? How old are you?
I'm 40.
40. You've been living in Ukraine for 40 years. Has it always been the case that Russia is some sort of big country looming over your childhood, or is it a total surprise for you, the hostility that comes from Russia right now?
Well, it's not a surprise at all for me. Well, actually, I had a lot of information from my great-grandmother. She died when she was 111 years old. Yeah, she was born in 1904. Yeah, and she's seen it all. So the revolution, the First World War, the Holodomor, the famine in Ukraine in 1933, like Second World War, everything. Like the communism and all this thing. And I know a lot of information from her because she was a Ukrainian teacher at school. So this situation was going on for many years.
It's in many decennia. It's maybe a century old. The roots of this.
It's not even a century. It's more than three centuries actually, because culturally. Russia has stolen many things from Ukraine, such as its name, because Russia, it's like, so our state was called Kiev Rus, like 1,000 years ago, and actually the name Russia was stolen for us by Peter the Great. And they need to have Ukraine in their territory to prove themselves that they are a great country, or something like that. So this thing was going on since, I don't know, 17th century or something. So they banned, they tried to forbid to do books in Ukrainian, so they banned Ukrainian language at schools, so they try just to eliminate our culture and all, and that's what they are doing right now, because they are not just bombing like military objects, they're bombing civilian objects, schools, universities, kindergartens. It can sound like a bad joke, but it's all true.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know from the media, I know this from the people who were there. Who've been there. So they don't just want to have our territory or something. They want us to be extinct as a nation.
Wow.
They want to eradicate your culture.
Yeah, because our own existence is a threat for their culture, because many things like things in language, in their culture, in their customs was stolen from Ukraine.
When you grew up, to what extent was Russian culture forced upon you? Because I can imagine that this happened.
Well, actually, first 3 grades. So I remember every Monday we had this class at the beginning of the day. It was called political information. And it was everything about propaganda, about how great our country is and how bad our Western countries are, and everybody wants to, hurt us and do something about us and break our economy and politics and so on, so on, so on. And it was like in late 1880s, 1980s, like 1989, 1990. And there's a lot of propaganda there, and they try to, put this propaganda in Ukraine. Right now, there are people that still think that, both sides are guilty or something, so it's even funny in a way, because we need to convince the people that it's Russia who invades our country, who's bombing our cities, who's raping our children, and something like this. Their propaganda is quite massive, and we need to, do something about it.
How come that you guys can come over here to play a festival? Because from what we gather from the news over here, everybody from the age of, say, 18, 20 needs to do military service. The sort of news that we get is that all Ukrainians are fighting for the country, with almost no exception, and you are some sort of maybe musical ambassadors to...
Well, for us, and for several more bands, they made an exception. So we've got the official permission from our Ministry of Culture to cross the border, because due to martial law, men are not allowed to cross the border right now. But as I said, we can do it to have our shows at some festivals, because we can say something from the stage. We can tell the truth about the situation. We can show our, Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian music, and of course there are a lot of people in Europe right now from Ukraine, and we're just sometimes we just try to feel just a glimpse of Ukraine, to give them a little glimpse of Ukraine, for them to just feel it like at home a little bit, because it's very important for them. But our permissions are not forever. So, for example, right now we're here in the Netherlands, but the day after tomorrow we have to go back to Ukraine. It's obligatory.
So you have to go back for every show. You come back and then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So right now we're driving from Ukraine to Poland by car. Okay. And then from Poland we can take a plane and go wherever we need.
How dangerous is that to travel like that?
Like I said, no one is safe right now in our country, so you'll never know. You'll just pray that everything will be okay.
Well, but you've been touring for months now, so how has it gone in the past months? Like, how is traveling like that for you?
We're still here, we're alive, so...
Is it that simple?
Well, of course not. But of course, like several months ago, Russians started to bomb like our railways. So it's not safe to go anywhere in Ukraine by train. But still, there's a lot of people who have to do this because not everyone has cars or something.
So if you do that, what do you see? Like, what happens when you get to the train station?
Lots of people who don't know what to do, where to go, because they're abandoned their homes, their cities, and they have nowhere to go. They have money for a day or two, and it's mostly women with children, with small children, with infants.
Because the men are fighting the war.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Some of them are fighting, and some of them are already dead. Because in many families across Ukraine, there are sons or fathers or grandfathers that are already killed at the war.
Well, I just want to, commend you for being here and telling this story already, because already I can sense that this must be so difficult.
Actually, it's not for us. It's not easy to go on stage every time. So when we had our first concerts this year after the invasion had started, we had a hard time going on stage because we didn't feel that we could do this right now. So back at home, our people are dying, are fighting for our freedom, and we're going on stage. But then...
But why do you feel like you can't do justice to the situation, or do you feel like you have to be at home and you have to fight?
Yeah, but right now we realize that everyone can do his or her part where he can. For us, some people protect our country with guns, and we try to protect our country with our culture, with our songs, because it's for us it's very important. Like I said, Russia is not just trying to invade our territory, but to eliminate our culture, our nation, like we didn't even exist at all. So we think it's very important to show our culture, our music to Europe and the rest of the world, and say hello, we are Ukrainian, we have our own culture, our own music, and we are not, and we've never been a part of Russia.
Earlier you were talking about how you were asked by your country, or that you have permission to go abroad. How many bands are there that do this, and how did you get that permission in the first place? Like, how does something like that happen?
Well, I don't know how many bands are there touring in Europe right now from Ukraine. Unfortunately, I don't have that statistics right now. For us, we just wanted to, so as I said, why are we doing this? We want, we want our music to be heard in the whole world, because our Ukrainian music is a big part of our culture, of our nation. And our Ministry of Culture, they understand it, and it's they also want for us, to be heard in Europe. and they also are grateful that we can perform at festivals, because I mean it draws attention not only to our music but to the situation in Ukraine as well. So
Yuki, can we, zit de techniek erin?
Yeah.
Yeah, shall we have a listen to some of your music before we discuss it further?
Okay.
Vijfde plek in de Eurovisie Songfestival van 2020, dus doe het ze maar na. You were saying, you're mentioning a lot that by performing in Europe, you do in your way your job of spreading the culture of Ukraine. Right. What is typical about your music in ways that you blend the Ukrainian culture into your music? Could you explain that to us?
The main maestros in that part of our music is Igor and our lead singer Kate. So they studied Ukrainian folklore at the university on a deeper level. So and they were performing in folk ensembles. And they had been going to the so-called folklore expeditions. To different small villages, collecting some ancient folk songs from the elder people. And
your grandma?
She was not about singing. She was more about Ukrainian language and literature. Because she was a teacher, but even now there are a lot of old women in our villages who still remember what their parents or their grandparents sang to them when they were like little children. Because I think folk music is more about the about the verbal connection. It's not like something you can read in the books. It's more about collecting the information from the elder people.
Your story sort of reminds me of Alan Lomax, the guy that at the start of the last century collected all these songs in American culture that were, for instance, the basis of Moby's Play album, The Natural Blues, in which he went to small villages and recorded a lot of black people with their songs that weren't written down, that were only in the minds of people.
Yeah, exactly.
And he wanted to record them to save them for historic purposes.
Yeah,
is that what you do?
That's what they do. Also, actually, and right now we even have some websites on the internet. So, for example, there's a site called Polyphony Project. You have a map of Ukraine, and you can pick any region, and you can hear several folk songs from that exact region, because our Ukrainian folklore differs from one region to another. Sometimes it can be quite different. There are a lot of interesting things that you can hear from folk songs, because folklore it explains you how people lived centuries ago, what they felt, what they were doing in their everyday lives. And actually it's pretty much the same that we are doing right now. So we are continue to love each other, to unite, to do some good things and bad things as well, and lots of things about the nature, because our ancestors, they admired the nature. There were a lot of spirits representing different things like forests or rivers or everything.
And
how old are these songs?
I think I should ask you pytania. 800-900 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so if you have to give specific examples, what image that is so typically sort of Ukrainian emerges, why are they so typical Ukrainian?
Ну, чому саме, як виділити, що це саме українське, чи є якесь відділення від інших культур?
У нас присутні триголоси, як багатоголоси, і завжди теми розвертаються в піснях. Ну, тобто, знаєш, це як пісня, як історія.
Okay. So first of all, it's the musical part of the songs because they have like they're not just singing along with one melody, but they have like 3-4 voices just put. That are singing differently.
And in conversation with each other as well.
Yes, sometimes. Usually it's more like harmonies. Yeah, and almost every song is a story. So it's I mean it's like not just one verse and that's it. So usually. Yeah, so it's like the typical Ukrainian folk song can be like 10 or 12 verses long because it's a story and
it's like almost an epic.
Yeah, and I mean there is no specific author of this song, so why are they called folk songs like native songs? Because it's like they don't belong to somebody specific, it's just the heritage of our nation.
Yeah. Could you give an example of the way you use those folk songs and those historic songs in your own music? Is it as simple as we just cover the original version and put some beats and new music on it, or is it another way that you sample or use parts of the lyrics or parts of the melodies or the harmonies and then blend it with your own type, your own music?
You know, the main thing about our songs and combining our traditional songs with electronic music is about the meaning of the song, is about the atmosphere of the song, because I mean there's a lot of songs about weddings, and for weddings there are a lot of songs about just coming of spring, because it's it was very important season for ancient Ukrainians for crop sowing and so on. There are also like songs for cemeteries or something, and first of all, we're thinking about the meaning of the song, because we have a lot of you can have a lot of remixes. It's just you just take an electronic beat and put something on it like any folk song. But sometimes the beat doesn't match the theme of the song, the lyrics. So, and we try to go deeper in that. So, as I said, Kate and Igor studied folklore on a deeper level, and they try to bring out the hidden messages. So, for example, our song "Shum" that we performed at Eurovision, it was influenced by the original folk song and dance. So, the Shum was the name of the forest spirit for ancient people, and they believed that if they will sing that song and dance that ritual dance in big groups, it will the spring will come sooner, and the more people will perform this, the faster spring will come. So they believe that together they can do more. We thought that it would be a great idea for our shows to recreate this ritual just in our audience. So, and now on our shows we do this thing, so we're performing our song, and so we're trying to recreate that dance in the audience, and it feels like absolutely amazing.
Have you performed that song many times in Ukraine as well?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and so how do people respond in Ukraine to your music? Because I can imagine if it has such a historical weight to it, that it must mean a lot to people to hear this.
People started to turn to Ukrainian folklore not very long ago, because again, because of the propaganda, it felt like the folk songs are primitive and for the older guys or something, and the youth wasn't pretty much into it. But right now it's totally different.
Has that changed because of the war?
Not just because of the war, because of the revolution of dignity in 2013, because of many people started to.
What is the revolution of dignity?
It was in 2013 when people just thought that we don't want to be a part of Russia, we want to be a part of Europe. And for our officials then it was a huge problem because all they cared was money.
Okay.
You know.
This was around the Crim invasion.
Yep, absolutely, exactly. So and I think lots of people turn to Ukrainian culture and Ukrainian folklore because it's our history, it's our heritage, and you can learn more things from that than from the original history books.
Yeah.
How much of your show that you will play tonight, I think in the Heineken or the Bravo?
Heineken.
Heineken, I think.
I believe so.
Is it pure music or is it also some sort of, what do you exactly tell the audience, a total audience that doesn't know a lot about Ukrainian history? How do you integrate that into your live show? Is it just the music, you let the music do the talking, or do you also tell a lot about the songs and give them some context?
Sometimes it's not necessary to understand the lyrics to know what song is about. You just feel the atmosphere, you feel the emotions, you feel the energy, because for me, music is mostly about the emotions and energy. So I think the best way to answer your question is, you'll see.
Go and see the show.
I think you just have to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have people started to, how do people back home experience you being their ambassador or trying to spread the Ukrainian culture? Like, how do people back home respond to that?
Most of the people back home don't have time to respond to that because, they're right now they have other problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to survive.
Of course.
Yeah, so but most of them are grateful to us. So we got many messages every day. So with the words of appreciation and gratefulness. So and we appreciate that a lot because the support of our people is very important for us.
Can we go back a little bit to also, because we talked about how you use the themes of old Ukrainian folklore in your music, but like musically, how do you engage with it in your own music? Are there specific instruments that are very typical, like musical elements that are very typical for Ukraine that you use?
Oh, our native musical instruments guy is this guy. Yeah, I mean, питання про те, які інструменти використовуємо, чи якісь спеціальні інструменти для фольклору.
Так, це, по-перше, в нас використовується сопілка. Це як один із таких самих відомих українських духових інструментів. У нас використовуються зазвичай всякі цимбали, скрипки, у нас це все було.
Yeah, so actually we have a lot of our traditional musical instruments. So first of all, it's sopilka, a Ukrainian flute that Igor is playing on stage. So, and it has like lots of variations, so it's not only one instrument, it's like different types of woodwind instruments. I think Igor has like over 40 instruments, like different woodwinds things and stuff. But we also have other like stringed instruments and mouth harps. And an instrument called bandura. I think everybody knows that Ukrainian instrument. Yeah, it's great. I mean, and sounds beautiful.
This is all in a way, this is very nerdy stuff. Earlier you said that it isn't very hip to be into these folklore elements, these old Ukrainian songs. Why did you get into it?
Because we like it, because we love our culture, because...
but how did you come into contact with it?
Yeah, well, actually, it's quite an interesting story, because I wanted... actually, all of our band's members, we played in rock bands before. So, before Go Away, I played in a death metal band for several years. Yeah, and then...
Can we expect a bit of death metal tonight?
Maybe. I don't know. So, but you can slam in the audience. Yeah. So, as I was saying, after playing the metal bands for several years, I wanted to give a little bit of change, and I always liked electronic music, and I wanted to make a band that would, sound electronic, but would look like a rock band live. And I was thinking about combining electronic music with something, and then during my trip to India, I went to this performance, and there were musicians playing along with the performance on stage, and there was a girl who was just singing some melodies, and at a certain point everything turned dark. It was total silence, and then this girl started to sing a Ukrainian folk song in India. And it was a total shock for me, and I think it was a sign because that's when I thought, like, okay, that's what I want to do. So, and when I returned back to Ukraine, I just started to look for a folk singer, and I met Kate. Yeah, and then so we tried to do something together to mix, Ukrainian folk music and Ukrainian folk songs with electronic music. We did like a couple of songs, and we liked that a lot. And so we tried to search the internet, Ukrainian parts of it, for other bands who do like the same thing. And we were pretty much surprised that we didn't find anything.
Is this the reason why your band is called Goya? It's a sort of reference to India?
Well, actually no. So it sounds pretty much similar, but we have our own idea there. So the idea of the name was like, the name consists of two things, like the verb to go, like in English to go, and the A is like Greek letter alpha, which represents like home, roots, the beginning of everything, even God. So, and for us, the meaning of the band is like going back to our roots.
Yeah.
But we wanted to do the name of the band so that everybody could feel their own meaning into it. Yeah. So, like I said, we did a couple of songs. We saw that nobody had done that before. And actually that was a bit of the problem because no one understood where to put us. I mean, we were like too folky for like dance festivals, too soft for rock festivals, and so on and so on and so on. And for us it was like 7 or 8 years in musical underground. And everybody was saying like, oh, come on, make like just simple pop music and you'll have your like chance to perform somewhere. But I think we were like very stubborn about what we did, and we were very honest about what we did because we just did what felt right for us. Mm-hmm. So, and
here you are.
Here we are.
Okay.
And so the story of your band is in a way, I think, also about, because it is quite patriotist to put forward your own country. What was your sort of awakening, your political awakening of wanting to do that? Because it's quite a statement to want to do that.
You mean this year or?
No, over your life. Like, when did you start to want to engage with your own culture in that way?
Well, I think all our band members always were interested in, learning about our own culture, our own heritage. But for me, when I started to, find out many things with Kate and then with Igor, so...
What things? Was there like a specific something that or like a political event, something that sparked you to think differently about your own culture?
No, I mean, first of all, I'm Ukrainian. So, and I just, it wasn't like, oh, there's a war going on, so I need to know more about my culture. So I just felt that it was right for me to, it's easier to know where you're going if you remember where you came from.
Yeah,
so you got to know your history, your heritage, your culture, just to understand where you're going.
But you said that you grew up with these stories of your grandmother talking about the influence of Russia. Like, that must have planted a seed in your head when you were younger.
That's the problem of many people, because, why should you feel hate if you can feel love? It's not about hating someone, it's about doing something good for your own people.
Yeah.
First of all.
Zullen we even een rondje vragen doen naar de zaal? We've got about 5 or 10 minutes left. I'm looking at Yuki. Yuki heeft een microfoon. Daar ligt een t-shirt, jongens. De beste vraag wint. Zijn er vragen uit de zaal? Ik mag lopen. Tuurlijk. Ik heb nog jonge benen. Hier, kijk, ik ben het. Zijn er vragen uit de zaal? Hier, daar. Ik kom naar je toe.
Thank you. Great that you're here. Thanks for your insights and your experiences.
Thank you.
How important is music in Ukraine right now? And is there any particular songs that are used to unify the nation and help people get through this time? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. So first of all, music is the thing that heals your soul every time, because it's pure emotions, and music is one of a few things that has no violence in it. And of course, there are several traditional songs in Ukraine that unite us in a way right now. So there's a song called "Ой, у лузі червона калина." It's for Ukrainians right now. It's like a second anthem. Yeah, and I know our own national anthem for now. It's not just like a posh song for official holidays or something. It's like it's our statement to the world. Right now there are a few songs, like I said, one and our national anthem, and a few other songs that are connect our people, and we sing those songs all together, and it feels like a feeling of unity, and that we are strong, and that we will never surrender.
Thank you. Thank you. Andere vragen? Kijk eens, ik heb er hier nog 2.
Hi, thanks for being here. How do you think about the future of your band within 5 years or something? And maybe the future of your country within 5 years?
Oh, it's like a question from the books. But, unfortunately right now you cannot be certain of anything, because the situation changes every day. And you'll never know what comes tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. But I hope, I dream about that in 5 years we will be waking up in a free country without any problems with our on our borders or in our territory, and we'll just feel free to do everything to make our country and this world a better place. That's what I believe.
En de laatste vraag.
Hello, thank you for being here. I've got a political question. How do you value the invitation of the European Union for Ukraine to become a member?
Actually, it was for us. It was a very important moment because you know what? Actually, our people and ourselves, we feel like we are a part of Europe. We've been under, Russian, invasion territory, Soviet Union for so many years that we know how it is like to be with them. And we don't want that. We never did. So, and of course, the news that we can become a part of European Union was very important for us, and we're looking forward to it, of course.
We too.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Again, thanks for being here. I have one question. Touring around Europe, spreading your music, but also your story about your country. What kind of reactions did you get? How does that make you feel? How do you feel the rest of Europe is dealing with the situation of your country?
Thanks. What? Actually, it surprises us all the time, because we have at our every performance we have such a huge support from the people in the audience, and I think so. I think that in Ukraine we have a saying like "Slava Ukraini." It's like when while on stage we say "Slava Ukraini," and everyone in the audience just answer us, Heroem Slava, it's the answer to this thing. So, and actually it's absolutely amazing, even when you know that there are literally no Ukrainians in the audience. And we feel this huge support from the people, I think it's not the emotion that cannot be described in words. Sometimes we have no words for that. We feel that support, and we are very grateful for people all over Europe for that support. Thank you again.
And do you also relay this message back to your friends and your family, and how does that work?
For lots of Ukrainians who are in Europe right now as refugees, it's very important to know that they are not forgotten. They can feel like a little part of Ukraine on our shows, and we try to show them this as much as possible because we know how hard it is to them. And we also want to support them as much as we can.
Thank you.
Er was nog één vraag, maar die ga ik afsluiten. Ja, nog meer vragen, maar mag er een laatste? Oh, het mag van Yuki, jongens, dus als het van Yuki mag, dan doe ik het. Yuki is hier de baas.
So I have a songwriting question. Every song that you write right now, the new songs, what effect does the war have on those songs that you're writing at the moment?
Well, of course, the war has its impact on our new songs, but so most of our songs are about good things, about love, about unity, about people, good people all over the world. But sometimes you cannot write songs about something good when you feel pain, when you feel like when you see all the situation. But we don't want to sing about war. We want to sing about people's feelings, about how do they feel about it, because it's all about the people. So it's people who are being killed, that are being refugees in other countries. We try to put so much meaning into every word in our lyrics right now. I don't think that people want to hear songs about war, because they have so much, so many bad things going on right now, and they need to feel something, something positive. But nevertheless, right now there's a lot of lyrics about our people, about people who lost their homes. Actually, we have a song that was written about people from our Chernobyl region. It's a big part of our culture, originated from there, and after the Chernobyl tragedy in 1986, a lot of people were forced to go to other regions of Ukraine, and actually there's a big piece of our culture that is starting to vanish because of that. And we have a song about people who were forced to go to other places, and right now this song has like a lot more meaning because of the situation right now.
Thank you for your comments. Dit was het voor vanavond. Wat vonden we de beste vraag, Malou?
Oei.
Nu gaat het t-shirt eruit.
Nu maak je mij verantwoordelijk daarvoor.
Ja.
Wat vonden jullie de beste vraag?
Ja, kijk, er zit iemand die heel graag dat shirt wil. Dus
good for you. Woo! Congratulations.
Taras, Ior, I'd like to thank you very, very much for your story about Ukraine, your music, and I'd like you to thank you and wish you lots of success with your show tonight. I'll repeat it for again. Lima hoor ik hier uit mijn linker speaker bij de secondanten. Lima om 11 uur. Wees erbij, be there or be square. Dank jullie wel dat jullie er waren. Thank you for having us.
3FM Podcast.
structureel personeelstekort bij NS.
Maar door de inflatie worden veel producten duurder.
Een akkoord gesloten om weer graan te kunnen exporteren uit Oekraïne.
Elke dag vliegen de headlines je om de oren. Maar om dat allemaal te volgen, dat kost je veel tijd. Wil jij nou makkelijk en snel bijblijven? Luister dan de podcast Lang Verhaal Kort van ons, NOS op 3. We geven je in 5 minuten uitleg bij de onderwerpen die steeds weer terugkomen in het nieuws. En het is ook nog leuk om naar te luisteren. Lang Verhaal Kort. Zoek hem op in je favoriete podcast-app of in de 3FM-app.